Okay, Dayton City Commission meeting will now come to order. Please rise. Rise for the invocation and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. But before we go to the invocation, I'd like to have a moment of silence, please. It's challenging as we see additional lives being lost because of gun violence. And so we have 4 lives lost in Atlanta, Georgia, or near Atlanta, Georgia, at a high school. 2 young people and 2 staff. And while we are working on this to the best of our ability with our violence interruption program, it can't come fast enough. And so I appreciate those who are working with me on this particular challenge. But while we're waiting, all we can do is just ask for people to stop shooting. At the same time, we've had 6 hostages that were killed, and which seems like a conflict that won't end. And while we've called for peace, peace is being called for around this nation. Again, what we can do is what we've done, and again, ask for people to just put the weapons down. So again, please join me for a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Turner-Sloss, your invocation this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Will you all please bow your heads? Dear Father God, we look to you for guidance, wisdom, and understanding. Lord, we ask you for your glory, and we ask that you bless us with peace on your land and beyond. Lord, continue to be with us and use us as a vessel to do your will for your people. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Blackshear, may I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Okay, may I have a motion then to excuse the absence of Commissioner Joseph for this evening's meeting?
So moved, Your Honor. Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to approve the absence of Commissioner Joseph. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay, may I have a motion then to approve the minutes from the August 28th meeting?
So moved. Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the August 28th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. So, Ms. Blackshear, do we have any communications or petitions?
There are none, Your Honor.
There are none. We do have a couple of presentations this evening. So I'd like to call Mr. Beer Cheerhart, who's the Chief Administrator for the Five Rivers Metro Park, to the podium to give a community update for the upcoming levy that we have for the Metro Parks. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Just needed a moment to get myself organized.
Okay.
Mayor, members of the commission, and the city manager, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here on behalf of Five Rivers Metro Parks. My name is Bill Cheerhart. I am the Chief of Administration at Metro Parks and wanted to give you all a quick update as to where we are as an organization, what we've been up to these last 60 years. And really, it's thanks to those people years ago that recognized urban sprawl and the way that was occurring out there in the community and said we needed to maintain and protect this land for future generations. They fought hard to preserve these natural areas and resources for us to enjoy here today. The mission of Five Rivers Metro Parks is clear. It's about protecting the region's natural heritage and helping people have that personal connection with nature. Our parks are well used. You can see some of the statistics up there that over 300,000 county residents have visited a Metro Park at least once in the last year. Additionally, 96% of our residents of Montgomery County are within a 10-minute drive of one of our Five Rivers Metro Parks. We are covering the county itself with nearly 16,000 acres protected, 90% of that in its original state, in its natural state. During the pandemic, we saw attendance soar at our Metro Parks. People used their parks as a place of solace, as a place of refuge, as they came out and visited our Metro Parks in droves. As I mentioned, parks are spread throughout Montgomery County. We have 18 clean, safe Metro Parks, and also several other facilities that are not Metro Parks, including the 2nd Street Market, and also portions of 8 regional bikeways. I'm sure you all know that the Dayton region boasts the nation's largest paved trail network. Did I say that right, Mayor? I saw
Yes,
you
sir.
nodding along with me.
Yes, sir.
Making
Sure
sure I
did.
got that. In the country with over 160 miles. And then additionally, we have various conservation areas spread throughout the county. Some are open to the public, including the Woodman Fen, Spring Run Conservation Area, and the Great Miami Mitigation Bank, just to name a few. But really what Metro Parks is about is it comes down to these 3 core areas of conservation, education, and recreation. As I mentioned, 90% of our land is maintained in its natural state. And we are the region's conservation leader to protecting and preserving these areas by providing clean air, clean water, and clean energy for all of the areas here in Montgomery County. The educational opportunities that we provide are vast. We provide opportunities on farming, heritage, history, gardening, earth-friendly living, and sustainability. In addition, we support our educators as they are growing the next generation of citizen scientists out there with green schoolyards, education kits, youth clubs, and camps. I can tell you that my wife, as a 4th grade teacher, benefits from the educational pursuits that our organization puts forth to people out there in our community. And finally, everybody likes to have a little fun. How about the recreational opportunities that you'll find in your Five Rivers Metro Parks? Whether you enjoy hiking, fishing, gardening, cycling, nature exploration, we have it all. We have something for everybody to attend these activities. In fact, nearly 167,000 people have participated in our programs each year as they're attending activities, learning ideas and things in progression in terms of paddling, cycling, mountain biking, backpacking at our various Metro Parks facilities, including the Metro Parks mountain bike area, or the ice rink at Riverscape, or the backpacking trail down in the Twin Valley. And if that wasn't enough, there's a variety of special events that occur in your Metro Parks. Things like Make a Difference Day, where volunteers come out and give back to their community. Passport to Metro Parks, which is our kickoff to summer to show people all the great things happening at Riverscape Metro Park each summer. And then coming up this fall, as you can see the little person there on the bike, the Wagner Subaru Outdoor Experience over at Eastwood Metro Park. It's going to be a great time, the first full weekend in October, and we hope to see you out there. Commissioners, what I want to explain to you tonight is about the 2024 Metro Parks levy that you find on the ballot. It's really about keeping safe access to the parks for all of Montgomery County. With this levy, Five Rivers Metro Parks can continue to ensure those safe picnic areas, restrooms, play areas, programs, trails, roads, and bridges. We can preserve green space and protect our natural resources. We can protect natural areas, wildlife habitats, and water quality. Provide a variety of outdoor recreational opportunities and educational programs for people of all ages. We'll continue to host outdoor festivals, events, and performances that residents enjoy and help draw visitors to Montgomery County, and keep our knowledgeable and helpful Metro Parks staff. In terms of what the levy would cost, it is a $1 million additional levy, and that would be less than $3 per month per $100,000 of appraised property value. If the levy doesn't pass, then Metro Parks will be forced to take certain actions. We will have to delay repairs that are needed to keep our trails and facilities accessible, clean, and safe for the public for decades into the future. It would require further significant cuts to programs and maintenance while keeping positions vacant. We are holding positions vacant right now to help stem the budget shortfall that we find ourselves in. And finally, we will not be able to complete planned upgrades and replacements to amenities like restrooms, trails, and playgrounds. So just a couple of quick notes regarding voting as it would come up. Early voting begins here soon on October 8th, sorry.
Yep.
Lost my place for a minute there. Anybody could have jumped in and helped. That would have been fine. I'd have been all right with that. But certainly we encourage everybody to get out there and vote. The information is there for those to get registered for the vote itself. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions that anybody might have. This is certainly how you can get in touch with your Five Rivers Metro Parks. And we encourage everybody to get out there and enjoy their Metro Parks.
Okay. All right. Certainly. Thank you. Appreciate that. Commissioners, questions, thoughts? Commissioner Turner-Sloss?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, sir, for being here this evening. I just want to commend you for all of the great work that Five Rivers Metro Parks provide to the Dayton area. Just a couple quick questions. How many vacancies did you say that you all are holding right now?
We're intentionally holding 19 positions open right now.
19 positions.
Those are not in a direct service delivery. Those are more either from a management or administrative positions. We are continuing to fill all of our frontline staff that are taking care of the parks.
And this levy, if it in fact passes, it would support those 19 vacancies that you...
That's correct.
Okay. Can you give us a little bit, if you have the opportunity to do so, could you give us a little bit of idea of what some of the upgrades and updates will look like for some of the areas?
Yeah, so some of the things that we would be looking to do if the levy were to pass, I like to say when, because I think positively. But when the levy would pass is that there's planned replacements and upgrades that we would need to perform. So things like at Eastwood Metro Park, we had to remove a playground due to unsafe conditions. So things like that will be replaced. We've got a restroom at Possum Creek Metro Park that we had to remove and didn't have the money to replace it. And so that would be put back into place. And so it's things like that throughout the agency. Really those core amenities and services that people need to use their parks is what we would be putting back first.
Thank you. And then my shameless plug. So in regards to Riverscape, everyone loves Riverscape. It's a beautiful site. A number of people frequent that area quite often. Will this possibly allow us to have an outdoor skating rink?
Well, we already have an outdoor skating rink.
No, ice skating, but outdoor roller skating.
Oh, roller skating. Oh, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. I know we have the ice skating, but...
I thought you were throwing me a curveball.
No.
That's an interesting question. I don't know the answer to that. We
That's
would
fair.
probably need to figure out from the community what the needs are there
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
if that's something that we could do. I have seen people skating under the pavilion when there are not events going on
Yes.
or other programs.
Yes.
And they seem to have a good time out there for sure.
Absolutely. I do know that it's something that is potentially could be modeled. I believe Louisville, they have something similar, as well as Indianapolis. They have something outdoor skating rink as well, roller skating. So
Yeah.
all the best. And again, thank you for all of the great work that Five Rivers Metros provide.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Fairchild?
Yeah, no, thank you for the work, and thank you for bringing this to our attention, and look forward to supporting. I love that picture up there behind you. We love the bike trails that go through the parks. We love the parks, so thank you for your stewardship of it, and I expect this community to get behind you because it's a great asset for our community.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. This is a great asset for our community. Recently, I think Forbes said that we're in the top 4 of places for young people, young professionals to live, and it's no small part, Five Rivers Metro Parks, and these great amenities that we have in here. So we just have to support this effort. It's important for, having fun and exercising and all that, but we'd have to recognize it as the great economic development driver that it is. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. And I appreciate bringing that up, Commissioner Shaw. The economic development that we've seen around the Riverscape improvements with the ballpark and the housing and everything else. It's, in my short time with the agency in 10 years, to see what's happened down there, just in Webster Station, is it's astonishing.
Yep.
And it's really terrific. And I think it shows what can happen when a community can get together and make great places and spaces for people to live and work.
Totally agree. Thank you.
Okay, so you brought your sidekick with you, Mr. Bonilla. You'd like to add a few words as well?
Sure.
I see you're always adding your name to the list of people who are supporting
Yes.
quality things in this city. So again, I certainly appreciate that.
Mayor and commissioners, I'm Bear Manita, and I'm one of the 3 park commissioners. And to your question, Commissioner, I felt in order to support the levy, we needed to make some belt tightening on our own. And to show that we're serious about this and that we're good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. And hopefully we can restore those positions when the levy passes. I agree completely with Commissioner Shaw. I think quality parks and natural areas are critical in the decision-making process when families decide where to live and businesses decide where to locate. And it's a great amenity in terms of our economic development and our ability to attract residents. And I'm here to ask the Commission to formally support and endorse the levy if you're willing to do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, again, when to piggyback on the comments that you gentlemen have shared, as well as lady, okay, thank you. The aspect of quality of life issues that progressive cities have, and sometimes people forget just how important recreation is. And I know as we have in this city, in this region, had a downturn over the last 3-4 decades in terms of supporting more and more recreational activities, I think it's become more and more apparent just how important those things are. So while we had a downturn in some other areas that gave us the resources to make those things happen, as we begin to find resources, we began to work on making these things happen. So support for what you're doing, for support for the library, support for the city, as we did this past March, all those things are important in terms of maintaining the quality of life. So I'm sure that we'll bring back here very shortly a resolution that will let you know where we are in terms of support for this. But I'm sure, based upon the conversation that we've had already, it's probably going to be positive. Okay. So again, thank you so much for your presentation. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
So we also have another presentation, Mr. Richard Moore, who's the attorney with the law firm, to the podium to present a report on the Independent Independent Auditors Association, or Accountability Auditors Association. Thank you, Mr. Moore, for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, and can I say for the record, Mr. Mayor, that is a handsome tie that you have donned tonight.
Tell you what.
Thank you again.
We must have had great art teachers.
Thank you again for having me, Richard Moore, Frost Brown Todd, the Independent Accountability Auditor. I think the report tonight should be relatively brief. As we've done in the past, we've examined the information contained in the IA Pro database and focused on the citizen-generated complaints for the first half of the year. As you can see from the slide up, the complaint receipts received were 48. Citizen complaints were 43 for a grand total of 91. I'll remind the Commission that complaints receipts are complaints that were received but were quickly determined to be inappropriate, either the wrong jurisdiction or a complaint that is clearly baseless had been received. This split is about the same as what we saw for the entirety of last year. About 53% of the complaints that were received were complaint receipts, and the remainder were the citizen complaints. In terms of the processing of the citizen complaints, I'll again remind the Commission of the outcomes that can be generated from the investigation, either sustained, not sustained, exonerated, or unfounded. Of the citizen-generated complaints that were investigated, all but one was either not sustained, exonerated, or unfounded. The one that was sustained involved an officer who admittedly lost his temper with respect to trying to transfer an inmate, and that resulted in a training memo being issued to that officer. And that is the extent of my report. As you may recall from the last presentation, we had suggested looking into the services of a data analyst that may be able to dig further into some of the data that's contained in the IA Pro database in an effort to further our investigation to kind of get a better handle on things that are presented in that database.
Okay. Commissioners, questions? Commissioner Turner-Sloss.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you for being here. And to your point, I'm very glad that you touched on that, the two recommendations that you made. And so I would just look to our Director of Commission to see where we are on those recommendations. There were two. One, investigating the use of the data analytics expert to review the information contained in the iPro database. And the second, determine if it would be possible to provide assistance to citizens to help in their presentation of their appeals to the Citizens Appeal Board. So just if we could find some means of working with Mr. Moore and figuring out how we can execute those recommendations. And thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank
That's all I
you.
have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah, thank you and appreciate the report. The report takes a kind of a very global overview of the number of incidents. Do you look at specific cases, and if so, how many specific cases would you look at in a quarter?
I don't have a number. I do look at specific cases, especially if it's a situation where it has been sustained in terms of the accusation that was made against the officer. So I do look at those reports. It is not a specific number because it's driven by the number of reports that are sustained. The other reports that I try to take a closer look at are the ones that are determined to be the complaint receipts, because those once the complaint receipt, again, those are ones that are determined not to be applicable. It shouldn't have been made in the first place. I want to make sure that nothing slips through the system as being labeled complaint receipt and it's not investigated when it should be.
Right.
So those are other ones that I look at. But in terms of specific numbers, no, I'm sorry, I don't have a specific number of that.
If I understood you right, you look at the ones that sustain. So in the 91 that were here, that would be one. Do you ever look at the ones where there was not sustained or exonerated or unfounded to look and see if there's any trends?
And again, it should be more scientific. I think this goes to the data analyst. But what I try to do is just take random samples of those reports to see if there's anything that stands out that is, something weird is in the report. And in the time I've been doing this, I haven't found anything that meets that criteria.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, I just want to thank you for this update and report. Is there anything else that you need
No,
that you're not receiving?
That's it.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, I guess the only concern or thought I would have would be for those individuals who are probably out of jurisdiction and they're making complaints based upon what would you surmise why they're making a complaint with our department and they may be out of jurisdiction.
Mr. Mayor, it's hard to speculate, but I think in some cases it's just ill-informed. They have a problem with, say, a police officer in another jurisdiction, and they end up calling the police department. They know the police department as being the Dayton Police Department, and so they may call the Dayton Police Department. In some cases, I think individuals may not understand that you can't speed, for example, and you don't have a basis for a complaint if you get stopped for speeding and you're actually speeding. So those are the complaint receipt examples that we sometimes see that come up.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you very much.
So, Ms. Blackshear, do we have any additional deletions or comments to the calendar?
I have none, Your Honor.
No. Ms. Dixon, any additional comments, deletions to the calendar?
Your Honor, I have no additions or deletions to this evening's calendar. I do have a number of things to highlight because we've got a number of great investments going into the neighborhoods. We have over $4 million of investments directly going into our neighborhoods between the Wolf Creek Levee, the Point Park, and the Curb and Sidewalk Program with the Dayton Recovery Plan. You will note on the agenda tonight, items 5 8, 9, 10, and 12 are all sidewalk contracts. We did, and there's multiple vendors. This is an example of when we try to increase competition and increase accessibility to bid on projects. We take large projects and we break them into smaller projects. So that's why we have different contracts on here for those areas. So I just wanted to highlight that and make sure that everyone understood that. So we're very excited about these investments into Twin Towers and Edgemont, Carillon, and Old North Dayton, because there'll be great investments in the neighborhood. Item number 3 is our contract modification for Next Street Financial. You know, that is the consultant that's been helping us with the IBROC program that was allocated also in the Dayton Recovery Plan. And this is to continue the work, really add capacity to city staffing, because we don't have a lot of capacity to execute on the business plan. The RFP is out. It will be finalized closed at the end of this month. But there's a lot of things to, move forward, right? Setting up an advisory board, making sure that we are ready to, we have a marketing strategy to take to the market. And we also added that pilot services that we talked about earlier, where we want actual Dayton local case studies for them to start testing, right? Testing the business plan with. And so that's what this amendment is for. So we're excited about continuing that, to bring that forward and hopefully have it in place by first quarter of next year.
Okay.
And then one other note is item number 4. I mentioned the Wolf Creek levee. This is engineering design services for $300,000 that we are doing in partnership with some of our local partners like MCD to address to look at how we, and this was part of the recommendation in the Riverfront Master Plan.
Right.
How do we make the river more of an asset, more accessible to our community? And we are looking at the Wolf Creek levee to support some of the housing that is coming and some of the housing we hope to attract by creating a greater asset for that neighborhood. So excited about that, excited about all of these investments that we're bringing into the neighborhoods this evening.
Okay.
And that's all.
Thank you. So, Ms. Blackshear, do we have any citizens who are registered to speak on city manager recommendations?
Yes, Your Honor, there's one citizen who has registered. I would like to state that there is a 3-minute time limit. As you address the commission, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. At that time, I will turn on the green light. When the green light comes on, you will have 3 minutes to speak. After you have spoken 2.5 minutes, a yellow light will come on. You will have 30 seconds remaining to speak. When the red light comes on, you'll be asked to cease your comments and to take your seat. To the audience in attendance, please be mindful this is a business meeting, and we kindly request that during this portion of the meeting, you refrain from any hand clapping, finger snapping, and conversations that will prevent the City Commission from hearing the speaker's comments. I call to the podium Dolores Wright.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, please.
Absolutely. My name is Dolores Wright. My address is 3117 Haney Road, Dayton, Ohio, 45405.
You may begin.
Thank you. I want to thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for the consideration of honoring the naming of the street dedication for Reverend Dr. Junior Greenleaf, right there between Gross Venner and West 3rd Street. So I want to thank you for your consideration for renaming and dedicating that street in his name. Dr. Reverend Junior F. Greenleaf, as you know, he's been our pastor, which he's retiring Sunday, September the 8th, after 44 years. But even just as importantly, he has served our community for over 40 years, providing the feeding program at the Zion Hill Missionary Baptist Church, did not burden the city, the state, for any funding. We did it with inside of the church. And he did not turn that down. And I think it's important to mention that he fed the homeless 5 days a week. And so we want to we appreciate that, because he's a dedicated citizen, and not only will he retire, but he will continue to serve the community and the church within his retirement. I should also mention that Dr. Greenleaf established the Zion Hill Theological Seminary that's been there for 34 years and has graduated many students in several disciplines in terms of theological degrees and so forth, many pastors. And I just wanted you to know that we have a great citizen who has served our community well, and I just believe that the dedication is the least that we can do for Dr. Reverend Junior F. Greenleaf. And I thank you for allowing me to share this moment.
Okay, I thank you very much as well. And as you take your seat, but I will also mention that he was very much involved in helping us with school funding in the state of Ohio as well. So he's one of those individuals that helped to, participate in conversations at the state legislature to help them understand why it was so important.
Thank you for sharing that, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add too, Mayor? We certainly missed you at the retirement ball. Your name was on the program. I just would assume that you didn't get the proper notice.
No, you're correct.
Else you would have been there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so kindly.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Okay, Commissioners, comments on City Manager's recommendations?
Very briefly, Your Honor, I just want to thank Ms. Dixteen for highlighting a number of investments that we see on this week's calendar in our neighborhoods. And again, it's just a testament to the commitment of the staff. And again, I'm just very excited to see the number of contracts that we have with the curb and sidewalk improvements throughout the various neighborhoods. So, and then again, I would like to thank Ms. Wright for being here this evening and acknowledging Reverend Dr. Greenleaf for his commitment and his leadership. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
I just echo those comments. Thank you, Ms. Dixteen, for all these investments in our neighborhood. It's an exciting time for those neighborhoods, as well as, I don't know if I heard you mention Point Park over in Old North Dayton, too. So a lot of exciting opportunities. I know the community right around the hospital will be excited about that addition to that corridor right there. And to Ms. Wright, having heard Reverend Dr. Greenleaf pray on several occasions, might even say preach in the midst of a prayer sometimes, he did more than just feed the hungry. He fed the souls of folks. And I'm sure you're one of those in his flock that he has fed. And I hope he hears the words, well done, good and faithful servant, and we thank him for his service.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah, no, I just totally agree. Thank you for the update on how you are breaking up those contracts, because it spreads the wealth, frankly, and the opportunity, and that's what we want to see. So thanks so much. That's all I have.
Okay. At this point in time, I'll take a motion then to approve the city manager's recommendations.
No, you go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the city manager's recommendation.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to approve the city manager's recommendations. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay, so legislation, Ms. Blackshear.
First reading emergency resolution number 6819-24, authorizing the acceptance of the fiscal year 2023 Assistance to Firefighters Grant in the amount of $326,406.67 by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, authorizing the required matching funds in the amount of $32,640.67 and declaring an emergency.
Your Honor, being declared an emergency, I move for the immediate passage of Resolution Number 6819-24.
I second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to declare resolution number 6819-24 as an emergency. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay.
Second reading resolution number 6819-24, authorizing the acceptance of fiscal year 2023 Assistance to Firefighters Grant in the amount of $326,406.67 by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, authorizing the required matching funds in the amount of $32,640.67. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
First reading resolution number 6820-24, honorarily naming Grosvenor Avenue between West 3rd Street and Home Avenue as Reverend Dr. Junior F. Greenlee Way for a 2-year period. That is all, Your Honor.
Okay. So we have some board appointments. Commissioner Shaw.
I move to reappoint Daniel Dish, Mark Manovich, Steve Seabolt, and James Wall to the Greater Dayton Priority Land Use Board for term ending December 31, 2025.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to reappoint Daniel Desch, Mark Bonovich, Steve Sebo, and James Wall to the Greater Downtown Priority Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025.
I move to appoint
Wait,
Pathia.
do we have a vote?
You didn't do the all in favor.
Okay, my fault. I'm just waiting for someone to vote. I didn't ask you to vote. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no? Okay. Thought you guys read my mind. Okay.
I move to reappoint Evan Mabamakiadis, Margaret Murray, Jim Walker, and Gloria White to the North Central Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to reappoint Evan Bamakis, Margaret Murray, James Walker, and Gloria White to a North Central Priority Land Use Board term ending December 31st, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
I move to appoint,
Actually,
I move to appoint Pathia Dennis to the North Central Priority Land Use
Okay.
Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to appoint Porthia Dennis to the North Central Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay.
I move to appoint Joel Michael, Jerry Standard, and Deborah Thomas to the Northeast Priority Land Use Board for term ending December 31, 2025.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to reappoint, or to appoint Joe Michael, Jerry Standard, and Deborah Thomas to the Northeast Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay.
I move to reappoint Yusuf El Zain, Matthew Kelly, Connie Neisinger, and Courtney Whitworth to the Northeast Priority Land Use Board for term ending December 31, 2025.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay. It's probably moved and seconded to reappoint Yusuf Singh, Matthew Kelly, Connie Neisinger, and Courtney Whitworth to the Northeast Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay.
I move to reappoint Ben Abernathy to the Southeast Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to reappoint Ben Abernathy to the Southeast Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay.
I move to appoint Kelly Brown, Patrick Coley, Leah Kanucky, Shelley Moran, and Matthew Wolf to the Southeast Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025.
I second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to appoint Kelly Brown, Patrick Hawley, Leah Knick, Shelley Moran, and Matthew Wolf to the Southeast Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay.
I move to appoint Edith Jackson and Shirley Williams to the West Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to appoint Edith Jackson, Shirley Williams, and, to the West Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
I move to reappoint Edith Johnson, Kenneth Marcellus, and Annette Richardson to the West Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to reappoint Edith Johnson, Kenneth Marcellus, and Annette Richardson to the West Priority Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. So, Ms. Blackshear, do we have any citizens who are registered to speak?
Your Honor, 6 citizens have registered, and I would like to remind everyone of the 3-minute time limit. I call to the podium Jennifer Alexander.
Jennifer Alexander, 2206 Saybrook Road, Centerville. After
Good evening.
the commission meeting on the 21st, I asked Commissioner Fairchild when the DRETA contract would be on the agenda for discussion. And he said, I think the city manager can just approve it since she's at the new $50,000 threshold. I really don't know enough about it. I thank you for your kind conversation. I'm now requesting that the city manager put the DRETA contract on an upcoming public work session meeting agenda. I'm asking that a member of the legal department educate all of you up there, since obviously I don't think all of you know how easily you can get out of this contract. So I'm hoping for a robust discussion and debate amongst all of you, because the citizens deserve some transparency with this relationship with Israel. After that same meeting, and unfortunately Mr. Joseph isn't here, some of us spoke to him downstairs, and I directly asked him, will you be one of the commissioners to vote against the DRETA contract? And he proudly said, jokingly, I will never vote against Israel. So I'm asking you, if he morally doesn't see a red line with a genocide, what is your profit and loss statement on Palestinian lives? Because, Mayor, you just talked about the hostages that died this week in your opening statement. Did you see on the news today the citizens in our sister city in Suffolk being slaughtered in cold blood and killed on the streets there? Did you see their homes being razed by bulldozers there? I've got a moral dilemma with that. And I'm trusting that a few of you, I know, on the ends, are listening to us citizens when we get up here and speak about that. I have a moral problem with Mr. Joseph, who works for an arms dealer, having anything to even do with this contract. And lastly, Ms. Dickstein, when Ms. Gula got up to speak at that meeting and you saw her walking to the podium, you covered your face with your hands. I have never seen you disrespect a citizen at this podium like you did her. You didn't look at her once while she spoke. And I'm hoping if she's on the speaker's list tonight, you give her her undivided, respectful attention like anybody else in this community. Because I'm going to call it what it looked like, Islamophobia. Get this DRETA contract on the agenda for a public work session, and let's be transparent about how easily we can get out of this relationship with Israel.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander.
Thank you for your comments.
Fatima Gula.
This is for each commissioner and the city manager for context for what I'm about to talk about.
Your name and address for the record.
Fatima Gula, 336 Miller Avenue, Dayton, Ohio.
Good evening.
4 dead settlers was more important to mention, but not the deaths of 200,000 Palestinians. Pandering much? Another quote from my Martin Luther King Jr. speech. I implore that all of us look within and ask, are my beliefs and ideologies just? Do they benefit only myself, group, race, religion, nationality, or do they benefit all people? When I was speaking of Zionism, I was speaking of Zionism, but I wasn't allowed to say it. Came to my attention that one of our commissioners didn't know what Zionism is or its definition. He's not here. Here's the definition. Zionism is an ethnic, cultural, and nationalist movement that emerged in Europe in the late 19th century and aimed for the establishment of a Jewish state through colonization of land outside Europe. All Zionists will tell you something different. However, it all ends with the same nonsense: Jewish self-determination, ancestral homeland. Zionism is pretty for those that reap the benefits, but the reality in history says the opposite. The founder of this movement, Theodor Herzl, was very frank about his desires of colonization. Israel, from its inception, only exists for the subjugation and destruction of the Palestinian people, and its existence is a manifestation of Zionist values of hatred and exclusion, opposite of Jewish values. Read Herzl's The Jewish State, any Zionist writings, anything written by Edward Said, Norman Finkelstein, Noam Chomsky, any free-thinking scholar, and you will get the truth. Zionism is an ideology of racism and supremacy. UN Resolution 3379 stated that, but it was revoked because of Zionist pressure. Zionism isn't colonialism? Well, then why did Theodore debate whether they should colonize Argentina or Palestine? Why did they look to Uganda? Why did Herzl write love letters to Cecil Rhodes? Why do they refer to settlements as colonies? Zionism is Zionism. You can identify as any type of Zionist you want. It does not get rid of its true nature. That's like saying, I'm a liberal Nazi. When speaking of Nazis, did you know that Zionists were Nazi collaborators? Look up the Havara Agreement. It's a fun read. Having that flag up there is like having the same as a swastika. Let's be honest. Would you have trade relations with Nazi Germany? You can make excuses, say you want dialogue. As long as you continue to stay close to Israel, you're Zionist collaborators, and history will not remember you well. I ask that you continue to advocate for a ceasefire and dump Drita. But I would also like to thank Commissioners Fairchild and Turner for acknowledging our concerns. But we need action. Don't allow our gem city to lose more luster. You tell us you have very little power, but you have it. You start from the bottom, go to the top. You are our representatives. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for your comments.
Alexander Gorman.
Hi, good evening. Alexander Gorman, 133 Linden Avenue, Dayton, Ohio.
Evening.
I don't have prepared remarks, but I do want to make a comment riffing off of something that Ms. Gula said. One of the questions that I think we have to raise is the extent to which our city's involvement in a trade agreement with Israel, which has involved sending junkets or whatever you want to call them of business people to meet with ministries in Israel that are producing weapons and get contracts with them, right? Like that's one of the things that facilitating these relationships means. During World War II, Ford motor cars had contracts with Germany. They were remunerated something like $300 million for factories that were bombed by the United States Air Forces that were building trucks that were taking Jews to concentration camps, right? That's business as usual. That's the problem here, right? When we draw this idea that we can put financial relationships, financial ties on one side, and ethical commitments, right? And I know many of you, and I know that where you stand in terms of ethical questions, right? Like you're progressive people who are committed to a city that is welcoming for all kinds of people, right? That we deal with our history in a way that makes this a good place to live. I think that it's hard to sustain that with this while cultivating relationships between arms producers, right, here and arms producers in Israel in the midst of a genocide. 11 months now of heartbreak. So I think that it is time to reevaluate that agreement. The world has changed, right? The world has changed, and we need to align our commitments and our actions in the cause of peace, which I think we're all here for as far as we can pursue it. But we need to recognize that this is happening here, right? It's not far away. It's in our backyard. It's in our pocketbooks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Mark Donaldson.
Mark Donaldson, 650 West Siebenthaler, Dayton, Ohio, 45405. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Evening, sir.
Come here today because I'm very, very alarmed at some of the activities that are going on in West Dayton. I'm concerned with the incident that happened in the 1100 block of Gettysburg, that your acting police chief, or I don't know what he calls himself, said that it was a known bootleg joint. How can we have a known bootleg joint within our city limits operating with boards on the front of it, with an open food trailer in the back, and 4 people get shot? It's just ridiculous. It is a whatever goes attitude in West Dayton that's got to stop. And how you stop it, and you begin to stop these food trailers that are on every corner, that are taking away from the legitimate businesses that buy water from the city of Dayton, pay county taxes, city taxes, pay workers' compensation, unemployment. We've got to get a handle on that. You don't see them in Centerville. You don't see them in Oakwood. You don't see them in Kettering. That they're all over in Dayton. And they're not just an event. It's a business. I could see somebody trying to get their hustle on 1 or 2 days or whatever, but these are places that are there that are taking away from the fiber and the business community. Look up and down Gettysburg. We lost churches, we lost Walgreens, we lost rallies, and we've lost other numerous places within this community that are tax-paying revenues that this city has to recognize because we all feed off of each other. Family Dollar closed on Gettysburg. We got to do something. I don't know who the economic development director is in Dayton, but they're not doing their job. The city manager has the ability to do what? Step in and do something before these people leave our city, and then we look up and there's a sign saying, hey, we're closed now. Got to do something, Mr. Mayor. Got to do something, commissioners. It has to stop. And then another thing, I went down Main Street today, and I didn't see one black man working on the street. Not one. Oh, my God. In a city with so many black men unemployed, and women, and when I say women, the women are flagging white women, not black women, white women. We got to do something about it. Because when you talk about trying to change the conditions of our community, it is based on economics. That's all it is. This world doesn't recognize anything except economics. Home ownership, unemployment are directly connected to disinvestment within a community. So I say this to you once again, I don't want to come here. But when I rode down Main Street today, I was so disappointed in what I seen. Dozens and dozens of white men and not one black person from the corridor of, Riverscape all the way down Main Street. So I just asked you to do something about it before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Anna Flores.
Hi there. My name
Evening.
Anna Flores. I live at 9227 Great Lakes Circle. I just want to say, in response to the person who just spoke, that maybe we could invest more in our communities if we would invest less in foreign countries committing genocide on Palestinians. So, as I'm sure you guessed, I'm here to talk about the Dayton Regional Israel Trade Alliance. I take issue with the events of the beginning of this meeting where you called for an end to gun violence and 6 hostages, and a moment of silence for 6 hostages when meanwhile tens of thousands of Palestinians are being killed by not only guns, but bombs, missiles, and drones as we speak. Where is the moment of silence for them? Do these lives matter less to you? I want you to explain to me why Palestinians aren't worth a moment of silence. Where is the moment of silence for the kids playing soccer on the beach who Israel killed by dropping a bomb on them? Where's the moment of silence for the little girl who sat in her car surrounded by her dead family until the IDF finally shot her with, what do you know, a gun? Palestinians are dying by the hundreds every day, and you know what? Guns are probably one of the mildest weapons being used on them. What's worse is the fact that these weapons are coming from the United States and from the Dayton region because of the Dayton Regional Israel Trade Alliance. They're coming from the Dayton region because of all of you. None of you have made any move to even publicly acknowledge the fact that we have a partnership with an apartheid regime. For that reason, you are all complicit. Not even complicit. If you refuse to end a relationship with Israel that focuses on the transfer of weapons and military supplies while they continue to slaughter Palestinians, you are contributing to genocide. Until you introduce and pass a resolution to end DRETA, which you, if you read the contract, you can do, all of you can, Commissioner Darrell Fairchild, while we appreciate your support, until you introduce a resolution, you are contributing to genocide. Commissioner Chris Shaw, you are contributing to genocide. Mayor Jeffrey Mims Jr., you are contributing to genocide. Commissioner Matt Joseph, who conveniently isn't here today, is contributing to genocide. And Commissioner Denise Turner-Sloss, while we appreciate that you are the only one to consistently and publicly acknowledge us when we come in, until you introduce a resolution, you are contributing to genocide. And we know it's not just you 5. Let me just say it's very convenient that y'all signed an ordinance allowing the city manager to undertake contracts under $50,000 this year, considering the city's share in DRETA is about $50,000 for 2 years. Do you all really think one person should be making these financial decisions for us? Financial decisions that implicate us all in genocide. We have done our research and we received information from the county about DRETA, and let me just say, Shelley Dickstein's name is all over those documents. So, City Manager Shelley Dickstein, you are also contributing to genocide. I know you don't like hearing your names used in the same sentence as genocide. I know that you are not genocidal people. But if you want us to take you off that list of genocide apologists, then do the right thing and get rid of DRETA.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you for your comments.
Victoria McNeil.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Victoria McNeil. I live at 107 Neal Avenue, Dayton, Ohio 45405. I am the current Riverdale president and neighborhood watch lady. Just wanted to say something, Mr. Donaldson. They paved the lower block of Neal Avenue the last week. There were black and white people that worked to pave that particular road. It's a long block. So I had to call or send an email to Mr. Escobar to ask him if they were going to put the speed bumps back up, because they didn't mark them. They usually mark them to put them back up. I also want to thank you all for finally, with Joe Wynell and lots of emails and conversation that way, that they're finally getting the North Main Street project underway. It's a little tenuous going up and down the road with all the one lanes and people trying to get out the side streets, but I'm very grateful because I'm hoping this will be the impetus to start to bring back the business in our blighted areas. They recently torn down Grub Steak, and the old Limbers used to be a upholstery shop when I moved in. So it's just undergone a lot of, craziness over the years. And so I'm deeply appreciative. I found alternate routes to go around all that construction, but I'm glad that it's the bump outs and all that stuff. We were kind of leery about that, but I think it's going to work. It's going to be good. You have to think positive on a lot of this stuff. And the only two issues I wanted to bring up is that we currently have is the graffiti that's being sprayed, tagged up and down North Main Street. I've seen the East End, the West End, not so much the South End, the North End a little bit, because I go to the library over Electricity Dorm. And there's not any impetus to get a lot of that removed. I will roll over it myself when I have time, but there's too much for me to do. And so, I mean, it's just those big letters that they do. So we need to get busy on getting rid of a lot of this graffiti, because it's all, I mean, the highway, everything, the concrete barriers. And the second issue is we have a lot of homeless people that are taking over vacant houses in particular areas. My area, up Santa Clara, they're moving up as they continue to go. And so it's very challenging. It's hard to get them removed for the most part, because they don't want to go. There's no services. We worry about fires. I've had lots of fires in our neighborhood, Santa Clara as well. So what's not being fixed is being somewhat demoed and then somewhat fired up as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
That is all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Dixon, you have any closing comments?
I have none, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Blackshear, any closing comments?
I have none, Your Honor.
Okay. Commissioners, Commissioner Turner-Sloss, any closing comments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to again thank Ms. Dolores Wright for being here this evening and recognizing the renaming of the governor, I believe I have that right, in recognition of the leadership of Reverend Dr. Greenlee and his retirement and all of the great service and work that he has provided to the Dayton community. I would also like to thank Mr. Mark Donaldson. Thank you, sir, for being here. And I invite you to continue to work with us to address the issues that you have raised this evening. And in doing so, I just wanted to bring to your attention that there are a number of organizations, and I'm probably preaching to the choir. You're pretty much aware of this, I'm sure. There are a number of organizations, a number of sectors that are hiring for various people. The problem is there is a shortage. So I guarantee that there have been a number of openings, but how do we get the number of people who are in fact unemployed, how do we get them to apply for the various vacancies? So again, I invite you to continue the conversation offline. I'll give you my business card. I want to hear your thoughts on how we can work together. And you're absolutely right. Up and down in Gettysburg, it's very disheartening to see the number of businesses that are closing, and we have to do a better job. And I believe that we're moving in the right direction with the investment that we're seeing in our neighborhoods. But to your point, there needs to be more. We need to make sure that we have an urgency in our neighborhoods to continue the development around economic development, and again, into inviting others into to live, work, and play in the city of Dayton. So again, thank you, sir, for your comments, and thank you for being here. Ms. McNeil, thank you for your leadership and all that you continue to do for your neighborhood and for the city of Dayton in its entirety. Thank you for raising those issues, and I hope that, Ms. Dixon, we can get a memo or get something in place to address the graffiti issue, as well as some of the other issues that Ms. McNeil has brought to our attention in regards to the homelessness and unhoused population that we're dealing with. It's all across the city. And again, we're rolling up our sleeves. We're working with our partners with the Continue of Care, MVHO, the list goes on and on. But again, we are dealing with a housing crisis. And it's not just in Dayton, actually it's global. So again, we have to continuously work together to identify ways to not only house individuals, but to provide them with the necessary resources. And that goes along with shelter, mental health, healthcare, and the list goes on and on. So thank you, Ms. McNeil, for being here. Ms. Jennifer Alexander, Ms. Fatima Gumla, excuse me, Mr. Alexander Goldman, and Ms. Anna Flora. First, Ms. Flora, I just want to push back on the notion that I am complicit and that I am contributing to genocide. I'll push back on that completely. Understanding that the role that I have as a commissioner, and to your point, and those that have been made, I will in fact support a conversation, a work session, whatever that may look like, to get an understanding of what the DRITA contract, what it consists of, what all goes along with that agreement in itself. But again, I welcome the conversation, and I look forward to working with each of you so that we can get more information on what that contract looks like and what all goes along with that. Again, I would say that I wholeheartedly support a ceasefire, and I'll continue to raise my voice and use my position to make sure that is in fact executed. So again, thank you for holding us accountable, and thank you for your commitment to the issue that we see across the country and in Palestine and Gaza. So thank you, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Fairchild.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for your comments. Thank you for the citizens who came and participated tonight and made your voices heard. I value your comments and your words and your spirits. Couple comments I want to make. Congratulations to Byron Branch, our Dayton police officer. He won his first round. Unfortunately, he did not win his second round nor the third round. He still has 2 opportunities when he fences with the team, I think tomorrow and on Saturday. Yeah. You have to get up early. I think his one match was at 4. His second match was at 4:40. I tried to catch his 7 a.m. match, but he wasn't. They weren't showing that one. But congratulations to him for his victory, his first round victory. Thank you to the organizers of Tour de Gem. I did not ride 25 miles. I couldn't do 25 miles out of shape in 2 hours, which was my window. So I did do 16 miles. I'll ride 25 Saturday when I have a little longer window. But to all the organizers and people who came out, all the nonprofits who serve our community, opportunity to support those nonprofits by going to the Tour de Gem website. I rode for the Dayton International Peace Museum and encourage folks to make donations to the Peace Museum. It was certainly well needed at this point. And I can't segregate the pain in my heart, whether it's parents going to bed tonight because of a school shooting or because of war and the violence of war in Gaza and Israel or in other places around the world, or even in our community because of safe sleep. There are parents going to sleep mourning, and my heart hurts. And so tonight I will pray, and I will cry. And if anyone out there knows a young mother, young parents, teach them the basics of safe sleep, alone, on their back, in a crib. Far too many young people in our community are going to bed mourning the loss of their child.
Okay, thank you.
Thank Shaw. Yeah, thank you to both of my colleagues for your comments tonight. It's heartfelt, and I really, really appreciate it. But I don't have a whole lot tonight, so thanks.
I spoke at these services for the young lady, 12 years old, who lost her life while sleeping because of random gunshots to 3 houses, and talked with the adopted parent of that family who's still going through challenges as we deal with that. And with that, I will say that all lives are important. And that's why I continuously ask for hatred for none and love and peace for all. Thank you. With no further business to come before this commission, this meeting is adjourned.